Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today I have Starting Now. This is my guide for new players. So if you just started Marvel Strike Force, you are watching the right video. If you started anytime in the last month or 2 or 3, this is a great point for you to start looking at how to build your roster, what you should be doing in this game. We're going to cover all the basics here. And one word of warning I'm going to give you. This game changes rapidly. So if you've been following a video that came out a few months ago, or a few years ago even, or infographics or a guide that has been out for a long time, put all that to the side. This game changes a lot all the time, so you have to really focus on up-to-date advice. And the reason this game changes so much is because of something called power creep. So the company that makes this game, Scopely, the way they make money is they make the new characters more powerful than the old characters. So if you came to this game thinking, I'm going to build up Iron Man, I'm going to build up Captain America, some of your favorite characters, I hate to break it to you, but some of those characters aren't going to be all that powerful. What Scopely does over time is they make the new characters more powerful than the older characters to make you want to buy them. So for example, this character, Icarus, came out a couple months ago. He's from that Eternals movie that you may have seen. Very powerful character right now in Marvel Strike Force. He would kick Iron Man's butt and Captain America's butt, Thor, all those characters that you might know about. He's more powerful right now because he's a newer character, and they want to give you an incentive to purchase this character. You probably have seen those pop-up offers in the game. So what I'm going to suggest for you is to focus on the newer, more powerful characters in this game. If you do that, you're going to have an easy time because a lot of the content of this game was created for the older characters that aren't as powerful. Now, because Scopely gives you characters from time to time, they'll give you an orb. Like, for example, you're going to get some of these orbs that will give you character shards, like the mega orbs. You'll get some mega orbs when the game starts. I cannot perfectly determine for you what your strategy is going to be because you might get a character I can't anticipate. But once you understand the concept here, you'll be able to take the guide that I'm giving you and modify it depending on what you get, from these orbs, what you happen to get as a player, as new characters get added to the game, because we always get at least some shards, they call them, these pieces that turn into the stars of the new characters that come out into the game. You can follow this advice. So what I'm going to say as a starting point is that you need to understand that this is a resource management game. The reason I'm having you focus on the most powerful characters is because Scopely makes sure you don't have enough resources to level up everything and to gear up everything. If you start bringing up all the characters to level 8 and 9 and 10, eventually you're just going to run up to a certain point where you're going to run out of gold. You're going to run out of gear, like these gear pieces that you may have already noticed are how you power up the characters. You're going to run out of that stuff over time. There's all sorts of resources in this game. Things like energy you see here. These are power cores, gold, training materials. You're going to see a lot of different resources, and what you need to do is manage those resources carefully. You may have heard this called a hero collector game, but this is not like Pokemon. You don't get any sort of bonus for collecting every character. That's not what this game's about. In fact, there are still characters that I have at level 1, even though I have a very big account, because these characters do not factor into my strategy at all. Aim Infector is not a good character, really has never been a good character in this game, so I just keep him at level 1, and I focus on building up some of the super OP characters like this one. So what does this mean? What do you want to focus on? Well, what I'm going to do is just a starting point, give you a sense of something that I'm going to call synergy. And you see here when I select these filters, there's different teams in the game. So I'm going to show you a team you're probably familiar with. This is the Wave 1 Avenger team. If you've watched the Avengers movies, you're probably familiar with this team. These guys all work together in that first Avengers series of movies. Well, these characters all work well together because their kits, in other words, the abilities here, all are coded to work together. So, for example, Thor gains damage for each Wave 1 Avenger ally, and then he heals himself based on Wave 1 Avenger allies. And then look at this. When an enemy attacks one of his Wave 1 Avenger allies, he gets charges, and then he uses those charges eventually when he gets up to maximum, and he attacks all the enemies with lightning and so on. That's basically how this team works. If you build up Captain America and Hulk, and they're big tanks, and they'll get attacked, and then Thor's going to get charges. He's going to blast everyone from the sky. This team, very straightforward, but it's a team that works well together. But not as well separately. In other words, Thor on his own, not very good, but when you pair him with the other characters, he's better. Now, this is not a super OP team. This is not one of the best teams in the game. It's okay-ish. It's an meh, all right team. It's a team that at some point, though, you're going to have to build in this game just to get through some certain content that's going to force you to build this team up. And this is going to be the team I suggest you start with in the very, very beginning, the first days that you start your account, because you're going to get calendars that are going to essentially give this team to you for free. You're going to get a calendar that's going to let you unlock Thor. You're going to get a calendar that's going to let you unlock Captain America. Those two characters will be given to you. Hulk is actually given to you via achievements. These things here on the left, you see how I get these Hulk shards. You're just going to eventually get Hulk for free, so that's very convenient. And then the other two characters here, Black Widow and Hawkeye, are very easy to obtain. Black Widow is available at Villains 1-9. Okay, so that's, you probably already started working on the heroes in the Villains campaign. That's very, very easy, pretty early on in the game. And then Hawkeye, also very easy to obtain. He's in Heroes 1-9. So this is a team that you can start with. I would just unlock this team and just use this team to help you get through the Heroes campaign. They're all heroes. And through eventually when you open at the Nexus campaign, just to get you a start. The goal is, though, to transition as early as possible out of this team into a team that is going to get more bang for your buck, a team that you're going to want to gear up higher, a team that you are going to want to invest more in for the future. And so the goal here is to actually, for a new player, what I want to do is show you a team that you can basically use in all the different game modes. So there's going to be different game modes here that you're going to be exposed to. Arena is a fantastic source of power cores, which are the premium currency in the game. You also get these things called arena credits, which you can use to buy units from the arena store, characters from the arena store. There's also raids. Raids are where essentially there are, if you go here to, you'll start with these things called Ultimus raids. You'll go to something, if you go to a raid like this, there will be a bunch of characters in these nodes for you to kill, and you'll work together with your alliance mates, which in other words, it's like a clan or a guild that you're going to be able to join. You'll all work together to defeat these enemies, and you're going to get rewards, including these raid credits that you can use to purchase characters in the raid store. And then there's something called Alliance War, which does not unlock until you're much later in the game. But one thing that I'm going to encourage you to do is to go to my Discord below and look for an alliance. There is a looking for an alliance channel there. You can also go to the official MSF Discord, which I also link below. Either of those are good places to look for an alliance. You want to do that right away. As long as you're active in the game and you spend your energy every day, you're going to find an alliance that wants to take you, because your energy is going to generate what's called keys. It's another resource that gives the alliance the ability to launch the raids. Now, what our goal is right now is to create a team that you can use in all the game modes, a team that you can use in arena and raids. War and Blitz, which is a game mode where you essentially practice with your team. You use your characters and you use them to essentially compete against simulated teams in the computer. So what you do is, here's my team, one of my Blitz teams. This team is auto-generated by the computer to match up against mine. It's much weaker, obviously. And you will go and battle, and you will fight that team. And as you win, you are going to unlock these rewards, including these things called Blitz credits, which will allow you in the Blitz store to purchase characters there. More on that later. With what you're going to do in Blitz is you're going to use this one team I gave you. You're going to split those 5 characters into separate teams, and then you're going to put some low characters with it. So in other words, what you're going to do is something like this. You see how I have one character that's very big and then a bunch of small characters? You'll do that with your first initial team. You'll take your 5 characters, split them up, put some low B characters with them. And when you do that, is you'll see the enemy is going to generate a team that, or the computer will generate a team that has one larger character and smaller, but you'll have the advantage, okay? It'll basically be a one-on-one, and because I'm going to direct you towards some pretty good characters, you should be able to win these. You'll be able then, the goal here will be to get these milestones, do as well as you can in these blitzes to get currency. In all of these game modes, you'll use these same characters to try to unlock and get the shards that you need to continue and the resources you need to continue to build up this team. So let's start and let's talk about this one team. You may say, well, Philosopher, why not build 5 different teams? Well, the reason why is for, like I said, resource management. This is all about using your resources in the most efficient way. So what I want to do is show you how to build one team. So let's say you have your Wave 1 Avenger team. If you use that team everywhere, you're getting more use out of the resources you put in. So as I said, you're going to start with this team at first, but then you're going to branch out. So this team is not all that great, but a couple characters that are really good. So if you had started several months ago, you would have actually gotten most of all but this one character for free just from playing the game. You would have gotten Phyla-Vell and Moondragon. Well, what I would recommend you do is I want you to work on getting Gamora out of the Blitz store. So Gamora is a character that was recently reworked. In other words, they redid her character, made her stronger, and you can get her out of the Blitz store. So as you do your Blitz and you complete those milestones, you're going to get this currency. You can buy her. I would recommend you get her up to 4 stars. And then once you get her up to 4 stars, you can switch to doing these orbs, which cost less of the currency, but they give you a random character out of the list. So there's several characters in the Blitz store. You'll get a random one instead of getting Gamora every time, but you will get some gold out of it, and it's a little cheaper. So then you're going to start by getting Gamora there, and she really pairs well with Nebula, her sister, and Nebula you can find in Nexus 4.6. Now, Nexus is actually, in my opinion, the easiest campaign because you can use any characters, whether they're heroes or villains. And the nice thing about Nexus 4.6 is you basically just, once you get your characters to blue gear, you should get to a point where you're going to be able to get to Nexus 4.6, and you can start farming Nebula there. She's very easy to unlock. And so so then the next stage or phase here is you would start with your Wave 1 Avengers, but what you would do is you would replace Black Widow and Hawkeye with Gamora and Nebula. So you'd have Thor, Captain America, the Hulk, and then you'd have Gamora and Nebula. Then you're going to use that team in the arena, and you will go to the arena store as you get the arena credits, and you'll purchase this character, Phyla-Vell. Phyla-Vell's on that same Infinity Watch team. She's going to work with Gamora and Nebula. Those 3 characters together you're basically using a synergy of those 3 parts of the team. So I would use those 3 pieces of the team along with, let's say, you'll be using Thor and either Captain America or Hulk, whichever one is bigger for you, until you can get rid of Captain America and Hulk. So now you may be saying, wait, Philosopher, okay, what do I replace Thor and Hulk? What do I use for those last 2 spots? You do have some options. One easy option, who actually is a pretty good character since they've reworked him, is Wolverine. Wolverine actually was reworked recently. He's a pretty strong character now, and you get him for free. You're going to get shards of Wolverine every day just for playing the game. As soon as you unlock Wolverine, you can just throw him in. I think he will do better. Once you aren't using the full Wave 1 Avengers team, I think he's actually a better option along those 3 members of the Infinity Watch, Gamora, Nebula, and Phyla-Vell. So, he's one character that you can use. Then there are some other options. In the Blitz store, if you start using these orbs, Once you use the orbs, he's not available in the store, but there's one character here that you have a 10% chance of getting out of the orbs. His name is Shang Chi. You may have heard about him from the recent movie that came out. He's a very good 5th character if you can get him. And then from the raid store, we talked about the raid store, there are a couple strong characters in here. So one character you're going to need, and I'm going to get to later, is this character Baron Zemo. We'll talk about that later. And then another character that I would definitely consider getting is Cloak. So those give you some options. I think all of those options are reasonable. Another option that you could consider is this character here, Sharon Carter, who, if you've watched the Falcon Winter Soldier TV show, you may know about her. So between Sharon Carter, Baron Zemo, and Cloak, you'll have some options. You're going to need Baron Zemo here. So really, whether you're going to have to either get 2 characters out of the Blitz store or 2 out of the raid store to get that 5th character until you can get into the war store, which is going to come unlock for you a little bit later because it requires you to be a certain level in the game. All right. And then once the goal is going to be to constantly improve that team. I think those 3 Infinity Watch members will do well for you. But you're going to try to, as you get new characters falling into your lap, you can change those last 2 spots to counter whatever you are seeing or help yourself in raid. You may end up having some, sort of backup characters. You may, even if you get, let's say, Shang Chi and Baron Zemo, you may throw in Wolverine when one of them dies in a raid or something like that. Now, obviously, I will just say, as I said, if you're spending money in this game, you're going to be wanting to get the characters like those 2 Eternals I mentioned, or Kestrel is another very powerful character. I do have a video guide in this channel called Whale Smarter, which you can look at, which will give you advice on what to spend your money on. But I'm assuming in this guide you're not doing that. So if you're not doing that, just understand you're not going to beat the Eternals or the super OP characters that people are spending money on. And, with the team I said, it's not going to get you in these top ranks, but what it will do is it'll get you to a pretty high rank. There are players following this strategy, and I literally have talked to a number of new players who have been, duking it out in Arena, and they end up in this area here with a team like this, and that's very good for free to play without spending money. Now, you may say, well, wait, Philosopher, I've been watching some other guides, and they talk about these legendaries, and you should be farming for legendaries. There are characters in this game called legendaries. They have this legendary tag, and you get them by farming up and building 5 other characters that you use to unlock them. And I'm going to tell you right now that the legendaries in this game aren't very legendary. They're not that good. They're not that important. And if you're watching a guide that tells you to focus your strategy on farming for legendaries, that is bad advice. You should ignore those guides. They're all old and outdated. They're wrong. Almost none of these characters are all that important anymore in the game. These 2 characters are very good, Omega Red and Animorlock, but they're not the best characters in the game, and those aren't the ones you're going to be able to get early on anyway. And the rest of these characters are, some of them are just trash, like these down here. Some of them are just okay. I do not think you should, revolve your entire strategy around going all in to get the 60th best character in the game or the 40th best character in the game. The characters that I'm having you get that are so easy to get as a new player, whether it's Gamora or Nebula or Phyla-Vell, are better than almost all these characters, and you can just get them right on the start. So I think that's the better strategy. There will come a certain point in the game where you're going to have to think about these. I'll just tell you a little bit about that at the end of the video. But for right now, that is not an important part of the strategy. The focus is going to be building that team I told you and investing in that team and getting that team up. So we talked about that team. Now, that team is almost entirely heroes. And so you might be asking me, wait, Philosopher, what about the villains campaign, right? So if you look at the Infinity Watch, there are some heroes and there are some villains here. So I'll just say the Wave 1 are going to be heroes. Gamora is a hero. Phyla-Vell is a hero. However, Nebula is a villain, and you may say, well, what about, I can't just take one character in, and that is true, although you actually can. You can just bring in 1 or 2 characters. You don't need all 5 characters to fight in a node. You could just bring in a couple. But for the villains campaign, I'm going to recommend that you get Baron Zemo. out of the raid store here, and Baron Zemo, he's this character here with the mask. He will be able to carry you through the villains campaign, and what I will suggest that you build up next to him and get is characters that are part of the Sinister Six team. Not a very strong team. It's kind of like Wave 1 Avengers. They're just okay, but they have synergy, and they're going to help you when you get to a certain point in the game. So eventually, you're slowly going to gain levels in this game. 85 is the maximum, but you will slowly gain levels. And when you hit level 70, which is a big level in this game, it will unlock Chapter 7 of Villains and Heroes. And here you're going to need characters that are either Hydra, Sinister Six, or AIM. Baron Zemo is Hydra, and then the Sinister Six can go with him. And they also can help you unlock certain legendaries at a certain point. So just to give you a sense of how this would work, this is an example of what a new player used to unlock Villain 7-1. He built up a Zemo as high as he could. He brought these 4 members of the Sinister Six that were kind of lower characters, and they got him through the node. Here's another new player, similar concept, okay? So that is what I'm suggesting you do for the Villains campaign. That team can basically just carry you through the Villains campaign. Most of the other characters I told you about are heroes, whether it's those most of the 2 of the 3 Infinity Watch, or Wolverine, or Shang Chi, Sharon Carter, Cloak. They're all heroes. So those heroes will get you through the Heroes campaign, and then this team I just told you will get through the Villains campaign. Now, what do you do? So what are you doing? What's your goal here? Where are you trying to achieve? Well, to get your roster up fastest, I'm going to recommend after this video you watch a video that I am putting in the links below. It's my evergreen guide for beginners. In other words, it's a guide. It's called Path to Power. It is my guide to the overall concepts in this game and the strategy that I think you should take to get as far as you can, as fast as you can in this game. But essentially, the focus of this account should be, as you start, you're going to build that one team, and then you're going to focus more than anything else on this game mode right here, Dark Dimension. You may say, wait, Philosopher, why this game mode? I really like Arena, or I like Raids, or I'm having fun in Blitz. The game gives you so many rewards for Dark Dimension. This should be your number one goal when you first start the game. Dark Dimension unlocks, and you're able to get into it when you're level 70. You will be able to bring up your characters to Gear Tier 13. All you need is 5 characters that are Gear Tier 13. Any characters. They can literally be those 3 Infinity Watch. That exact team I told you, you could bring them all into Dark Dimension 2, and they will literally blow through Dark Dimension 2 on auto. You won't even need to work at it. So why is Dark Dimension 2 so great? If you click here, when you win, you get almost 4,000 pieces of orange gear for free. You get these pieces here are actually crafted pieces that contain many of these smaller pieces in it. You also get this old power creep character called Ultron. You may know him from the movies. Then you get to run Dark Dimension 2 a second time. And you get another almost 6,000 pieces here, and then 27 of these. So you get tons and tons and tons of orange gear, which you can put right back onto that team that just carried you through Dark Dimension 2, and it can get them up even more. So, and then Ultron will be your first 7-star character, probably. And you can use him to carry you through Dark Dimension 1, which has no minimum gear requirement, but the characters need to be 6 stars. So you can bring in Ultron and any group of characters that are 6 stars. He can carry anybody, and eventually, it's like a marathon. You'll chip away at it slowly, day by day. You will get through Dark Dimension 1. You can use, which also gives you a ton of orange gear. And then you will use all that orange gear you get for free to build up your main team. That'll help you in Arena. It will help you in Raids with your Alliance. And then you'll get ready for Dark Dimension 3. Now, you may say, wait, Philosopher, well, what do I need to do for Dark Dimension 3? Well, Dark Dimension 3 is a game mode where you're going to actually have to bring your characters to Gear Tier 14. There is no minimum number of characters you need per node. You can bring in one character and just use that one character into a node, but you're going to have various nodes that you're going to defeat. Like I said, you can literally bring in one character and press start. But you need at least one, and they're in this game mode, they're split up into global and then there's Cosmic, and there's at the very end, there's City. So you're going to have some different teams. Now, there's an infographic I put below. This infographic is actually for Dark Dimension 5, and it splits up City, Global, Cosmic, and then Legendary. For Dark Dimension 4 and 5, you'll need Legendary, and that is for another video. But you can focus on any of these characters, and any one of these characters are fine for you to bring into Dark Dimension 3. And so you'll have additional campaigns you're going to be working on over time. You're going to have additional goals, but the idea is if you invest in characters that you can, and you'll see, by the way, characters that I told you to work on are here. You're going to see, here's Gamora. Here, down here we've got Gamora, Nebula, and Phyla-Vell, those first three characters. Wolverine, he's here. Those other options I gave you, like Cloak and Shang Chi, Sharon Carter, they're all here on this list. So all you'll need to do is just continually putting gear on those characters, and you'll eventually get your way, and get enough of them, you'll get your way through Dark Dimension 3, and you'll be well on your way to having a successful account in this game. All right, this may be more than you ever wanted to know, but it's not a video that tells you everything to do in this game, because no one could possibly tell you how to play this game in one simple video, but this hopefully will give you a good start. The biggest piece of advice I can get you is into a Discord. My Discord is linked below, and get into a good alliance and ask a lot of questions, and hopefully you'll enjoy this game as much as I did. All right, so if you like this video, smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. If you got comments, questions, cheers, jeers, if you're angry, sad, put it below in the comments, or go to my Discord, which is linked below. You can also go to my Twitch stream. That is linked below too.